something written in the Times newspaper, and I want this thing to be published, please. I want it to be published tonight, immediately. I want it published on my page. I want people to understand a letter that was written in the Times of London, July 15, 1998. I repeat, the Times of London, Wednesday, July 15, 1998. Let me read it for you. It was written by a white man. You understand? Written by a white man. His name is Peter Smithers. Peter, P-E-T-E-R, you have Peter. Smithers is S-M-I-T-H-E-R-S. He wrote it. He was writing to the British government. He's a white man. He's British. As I said before, the British people are very conscientious people. An average Briton is a nice human being. An average Englishman, an average Scottish man, an average Welshman, an average Irishman, they are wonderful, beautiful people. But once you take them away from the streets of London, or Belfast, or Glasgow, or Edinburgh, the case may be, or Cardiff, and you put them in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, dealing with colonial matters or dealing with Africa, they turn into beasts, they turn into monsters. I don't know why. Somebody wrote a letter. It's called the Nigerian Lesson. This is in the Times of London. As I repeat, Times of London, Wednesday, July 15, 1998. Somebody kindly sent it to me, and I'll read it so that the whole world may hear. This is from Sir Peter Smithers. He's a knight of the realm. The proper sir, not the sir you have in the zoo. These are the proper, these are the knights of the realm of the British Empire. Now listen. Sir, I'm now reading verbatim the letter written by Sir Peter Smithers to the Times newspaper of London. Listen, sir, during the negotiations for the independence of Nigeria, the view of the Secretary of State at that time, with which I agreed, was that in Nigeria, we should attempt to put together a large and powerful state with ample material resources which will play a leading part in the affairs of the continent and of the world. This was attractive, but it involved forcing several different ethnic and cultural groups into a single political structure. The negotiations were complex and very difficult. The chief problem, as I recall or I remember, relating significantly to the control of the police and of the military. Listen carefully, please. In the retrospect of 40 years, it is clear that this was a grave mistake, which has cost many lives and will probably continue to do so. It would have been better to establish several smaller states in a free trade area. Even some British people realized after 40 years of failed experiment called Nigeria. Sir Peter Smithers, who worked in the zoo colonial desk, he is writing, we wanted to build a country that is so big that we can control, more or less. And that very big country. Our problem then was who to give the police and the army to. And they gave it to Fulani. The man is now saying, with hindsight, after 40 years, many people, he wrote this thing in 1998, not 2020, 1998. This white man knew that Fulanis were using army and police to kill people in 1998. He said, after 40 years of this experiment called Zoo, Nigeria, that they created, that it is a mistake. White man is a mistake. Now, he said, we should have gone for small states. Now, this goes back to Aburi conference. Our people should be able to reason. This was the reason why Britain said no to Aburi. Because Aburi was about confederation. Ojukwu went to Aburi, agreed confederation, came back home in Enugu, and Gowa launched a war instead of implementing that Aburi that would have allowed smaller nations to emerge, but in a free trade zone called Nigeria. Gowon said no because British told him to say no. Because Britain wanted a large country that has influence in Africa that they can control. But to achieve that control, they needed to place the military and the police in the hands of the Janjaweed, Fulani, Miyetiala. And that was what they did. And that is why we are suffering till today. This man said people are dying. Let me continue. In exculpation, it must be said that we did not then have the examples of the collapse of Yugoslavia and of Soviet Union before our eyes. In other words, the man is saying that Nigeria, the zoo you have, Nigeria, Nigeria to some of you, is the same thing as Yugoslavia, the same thing as Soviet Union. And it is bound to collapse. That is what this man is lamenting in 1998. He is saying, we did not have the benefit of the collapse of Soviet Union or Yugoslavia to tell us what to do in the case of the animals in the zoo, Nigeria. Are you listening? This is from a British man, a high-ranking officer. He is a sir, he's a knight of the realm, Sir Peter Smithers. I will continue. It should now be clear for all, but the willfully blind. This is how intelligent this man is saying. It is clear to everybody, to both cockroach and rat, okay, Mochicha, everybody knows it is clear, unless you're living in denial, unless you are a denier of the truth, unless you are foolish. This is from a white man, please, not me. Unless you are willfully blind to see that it is extremely dangerous to force diverse racial and social entities into a single rigid political structure such as that which is being built upon the foundation of the Maastricht Treaty. This man was saying the reason why Britain left the EU, the reason why Britain opposed, some of you don't know what is Maastricht Treaty, but I will tell you some other day. It was a treaty of European Union that Britain refused to sign. This man is saying the same mistakes of the past we are about to repeat. What is that mistake? To willfully join together. He said it is extremely dangerous. A white man is saying is that Nigeria as it exists today, Nigeria, is extremely dangerous because you are forcing diverse racial and social entities into a single rigid political structure that is unsustainable. Now, recent history, according to this man, Peter Smithers, sir, of course, he's a knight of the realm. Recent history suggests that it will be best to complete the development of the common market and to call a halt to political integration in Europe. These are the people of Brexit. They don't want Britain to be a part of one big political superstructure. The man is saying the same thing we built in Nigeria that is costing lives. And who is this man that wrote this? He said, I am, sir, your obedient servant, Sir Peter Smithers. Listen to his title. Parliamentary Private Secretary to the Minister of State and the Secretary of State in the Colonial Office from 1952 to 1959. And he lives in Vico Makote in Switzerland. Are you listening? These are people that knew that putting a country together, people of diverse social backgrounds. In Igbo land, am I the same thing with a Fulani man? The answer is no. I am related to Efik, to Ibibu. I'm related to Eshan, as they call it, Upiaja. I am related to Igodomiko, the people who are there. I have relationship with Urobo. I know I can relate to Isoko culture. I can relate to Ishekiri culture. But can I relate to Fulani culture? The answer is no. Maybe even to an extent, I can relate to Yoruba culture, Yoruba culture, to an extent. But do you think I can ever relate to Fulani culture? Of course, the answer is no. Because Fulani runs a feudal system, a rank-added system, where one big man stays at the top and gives you tea in the morning and asks you to go and stone somebody and you go and do it. That's what they do. Do you see the difference between an egalitarian society and one that is so structured that order will come from the emir or from the sadiki or whoever? We are not like that. That is not democracy. And that value system was what the Fulanis brought to Asorok. These are the things that your so-called social scientists and your political analysts don't understand. What is playing out in Asorok today is the same Janjaweed feudal system, where one person stays at the top and just keeps distributing money that they did not work for, money that they didn't earn. That is what is happening in the zoo. That same thing was what they brought to the center in Asorok, and some of you are too blind to see it. When we tell you that the zoo, Nigeria, is unworkable, try to understand there is no nation on this earth where you have divergent values, divergent cultures and traditions welded together into a nation.
Of course, I agree with him. 100% I agree with him. And I am going to show you a proof of the reason why I agree with him. We are back to do what we do best. Of course, while you are joining us, share the video, invite others to join wherever you are watching from. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you and I welcome you to this program. While you are joining, share the video, invite others to join. We are live and direct. It is 8 minutes on top of the hour, regardless of where you are watching from. If you are watching from Biafra land, it is now 9 minutes on top of 7 o'clock in Biafra land, the land of Elohim, where there is 0 latitude and 0 longitude. We are going to try to see if we can bring more audience. I don't know. I'm not sure how it is going to work, but of course we are going to see what we can do to bring more people into this program. And very, very important, we have things to actually navigate this evening. Of course, there are the pictures that you see from the beginning of this video. It doesn't have everything that we want to talk about, because there are many things that we have to talk about this evening, and we are going to wrap it up. If we stay too much, we'll wrap it up in 2 hours. So, great and wonderful people of Biafra, first of all, there is something Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said, that they run a rankadede system in Nigeria, which you know, as zoological republic, where somebody will be on the top, give people tea in the morning and tell them to go and stone other people, and they do it. And that is exactly what you see going on in Nigeria. If you are in the doubt of it, let me show you an evidence. Let me show you an evidence. I don't want to do a lot of formalities. I want to go straight to the point. I hope that this device is going to actually play, because I want to show you the evidence of the Rankadede system, feudal system that he talked about. That's exactly what we are going to do. I'm going to show you the evidence of it. Just one moment. One moment. My memory stick is actually misbehaving, but I'm trying to fix it up. Of course, we know we are going to also talk about, let's actually outline what we are going to be touching on. If you look in the picture that is in front of you, there is the first one where this Senate madness, Senate position madness in Nigeria, where your Igbo politicians are disgracing themselves. On the other side is, as a result, when you see that British judge that is in front of your screen, he is the man who actually handled the case of Ekweremadu. He handled the case of Ike Ekweremadu. And that case is as of course you know the case of Ike Ekweremadu, what happened during that case. It is of those people who will give you tea in the morning and ask you to go and stone somebody. The reason why they actually impoverish you as a Nigerian, as an individual in Nigeria, it is as a result of what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu spoke about a system that is being run and impoverish every other person that is not political class. A system that is being run that suffers everybody or anybody that is not a political class. Such a system is the system that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu talked about. And I know that those people who actually set up this system in Nigeria and impose it on us in the likes of Britain, they are fully aware of such system and what such system can do. And of course, there are videos I am supposed to bring via a memory stick, but the memory stick or the card reader is not working, so I have to show you those videos through the phone. One of them is a video of Ekweremadu's court proceedings in the UK, where he was sentenced, which is part of the reason why I said that UK is fully aware of what's going on in Nigeria. They are aware, except if they want to be in denial of the type of system they have set up and established for us to do well. For, that same system is actually taking the lives of innocent people, making the political class to prey on the innocent people, just like they have seen. And they have seen the result of such system, the rank-added system, the system that is those at the top impoverish the ones that voted them into the power, only to exploit them whenever they need them, only to use them to do their dirty jobs whenever it is required of them. So let me try to get more audience on Facebook. I know that Facebook is actually fighting to suppress what we are doing, and then I am not surprised because it is something that is happening right now. They are trying to suppress us, but it is of course one of my good page that is actually bringing people. They have actually blocked that page or restricted it. I cannot post anything on that page. So, but we will continue to do what we will do best. We will find a way to navigate it. We are Biafrans. We are always finding a way to do our stuff and bring our voice to be heard. Now, let me look for that video where they sentenced Ike Ekweremadu and his cohort of those who actually try to exploit a little boy, try to exploit him because he is poor. That is exactly what we are going to, touch on, because it is that same system that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu talked about. I want us to look at this video. You know this video. This is the video that we are going to play right now, which is exactly what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu spoke about. The type of system they run in Nigeria, a system where somebody stays at the top and they will command people to go and do something that is, dangerous to other people, or they will stay at the top exploiting those that are on the ground. Such systems are the system that brought us to this place. Listen to it. Listen attentively to
are
it.
a senator in Nigeria's National Assembly. You have held high political office. You had many staff, including domestic staff, maids, chefs, and drivers. You own multiple properties around the globe. There is evidence of as many as 40. More than £400,000 went into your bank account over a 6-month period. By contrast, C was unable to afford a £25 fare to travel from Lagos to Abuja. You each conspired together to bring C to the UK in order to exploit him. You all knew that was unlawful. You, Ike Ekweremadu, had been part of the legislature that had introduced the law that made that conduct a criminal offence in Nigeria. You, Abina Abeta, secured the visa. You did so by telling a lie that C and Sonia were cousins, the same lie that you had told in respect of you and your donor. You also secured a fabricated affidavit testifying to their relationship as cousins, just as you had done for your transplant. You, Ike Ekweremadu, also fall within the high culpability bracket. You also played a leading role in the offending, and to a greater extent than Abina Abeta, who was acting through Diwe Ekweremadu at your direction. You did so in order to secure a material advantage, namely a human kidney for your daughter. You were involved in a high degree of planning and premeditation. For example, you orchestrated the arrangements with your brother, Diwe.
Okay, I am going to leave it here. I just want to confirm what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said, the type of system that Nigeria runs, a system where somebody stays at the top, give people tea in the morning and ask them to go and do one or two. They will go and do it. That is he called it Rankadede system, which is feudal system of government, which is Nigeria practice. And this system of government is the reason why so many people are dying young, because they don't want to be used, or they don't want to, be system that promotes inequality. It is as a result of such system that people, a politician, a senator took a little boy, a minor, to go and exploit his organ in the UK. So many of them does that. But I believe that the reason why Britain decided to deal with this, to set it as an example, because we are fighting for our independence from the same system Britain set up for us. They want to use Ike Ekweremadu to show the world, or to act as if this is the Biafrans that we have set up under Nigeria. And this is the reason. But we want to tell Britain that whether they decide to deal with Ike Ekweremadu because he's a Biafran, we as Biafrans, we accept such judgment. And the same thing that you have done to Ike Ekweremadu, you should actually investigate that man that you have kept in UK, and his doctor asked him to extend his days in Britain because he has a tooth problem. He has a tooth problem, which is the imposter in Asorok. They don't want to look into that path because impersonation is actually as much dangerous, because that's exactly the reason why they actually disgraced Peter Obi recently in the airport, which APC used it as, they made it a caricature of Peter Obi, because there is somebody impersonating Peter Obi. But the real impersonator is in UK, and he extended his stay in the name that he has toothache. His doctor advised him to extend his stay. What do you think? What do you say about it? The reason why Ike Ekweremadu was dealt with decisively, and I agree with the punishment that he received because he called for it. When we tell them that if you serve the zoo, you return back in shame, you believe it is a joke because, of course, it is the system that they set up that gave him the authority, the impetus to take a child to go and exploit his kidney in order to give it to his own child. He's a politician. The little boy is a poor person. But at the end of the day, these are the people who enact a law in the Senate House, and such law will stand. This is the reason why we say we do not want to be part of such states or such people that practice this type of evil doings. Whether you present it because it's a Biafran, it does not matter. It is still the same system that you set up or your ancestors set up. The likes of Lord Lugard and his girlfriend Flora Shaw. That is the reason why people are exploiting people, because they have the power and they believe they can. That is exactly the reason why Ike Ekweremadu did what he did. The same system you establish for them to exploit us, non-political class, it is the same system that gave him the authority. Now you have executed his punishment. You have actually prosecuted him and decisively punishing him. But the same system where somebody mask and place them in the position of leadership, the same system made everybody to look like fools. They don't want to talk about it, including those who call themselves pastors and imams. They don't want to talk about it. The same reason why the mask wearer want to retire to another country. After destroying the country, he wear mask to act as their leader. If you doubt what I am saying, conduct a DNA test with that man wearing mask in Aso Rock and the son of original Buhari. Then we will apologize if need be. It is very, very important for the world to know that the type of system that Britain gave to Nigeria is a system that destroy poor people, that of course the system impoverish people, allow people that is on the top to make use of their poverty, to make use of the state or take advantage of the state of such people in the exploit them. This is such system that they have established in Nigeria. System where there is inequality. Inequality is the order of the day. The reason why the inequality is the order of the day and being promoted, it is because the rich will always take advantage of the poor. The rich will always use the poor to do their dirty. That is the such system they have established in Nigeria. You see the election that just took place in Nigeria. Such election is the election everybody saw what happened. Election malpractices took place. Nobody, all of us, we witnessed it, we saw it. It is in court today. Now, there is something I came across today where a journalist from a media house, regardless of the case being in court, which he also talked about, he is still talking about the president select. He has actually placed him at the position of power. The reason why I pick up such statement is because people are being fooled that the court is going on, that there is proceedings in court. And the reason why you are being, fooled that the proceedings in court might bring a good fruit It is for you to forget. Because everyone knows that you, Nigerians, you forget so soon. You forget so quickly. It is for you to forget, so that to come 29th of May, somebody will be installed. And when such person is installed, there is nothing else you can do other than you will just talk to yourself, get angry, and you go back to your work. The next coming election, the same thing happen. You talk. They use court process to make you forget. Once you forget, you go back to your business, and the system continue to exploit and destroy you. And your children continue to die young under the system. Your children continue to be vulnerable to be exploited, vulnerable to exploitation of those who run the system. You don't see that because some of you, your consciousness has been taken away. You don't actually see things for what they are anymore because you have seen worst of all of them. So that is the reason why you can no longer see reality as they are. The rank-and-edit system has bamboozled your sense of humor. You don't understand what it means to demand for your right from those that are in the position of power. You don't understand anymore what it means to have a right as a human being in a society where they are, in a democratic society, where leadership or the power belongs to the people. There is a video I want to show you. Very, very important. But before we go to that video, before we go to what we have to do today, I want us to actually reflect on something somebody just said. There is something that I saw this evening, where this guy who called himself a prophet, you see, the same reason why, we always talk about these people who call themselves the religious leaders. He called himself a prophet. He paraded himself as a prophet. This same man is the same man who woke up to say that he has killed. He took it upon himself to say that he killed our comrade who just died. But his in-law is held in a solitary confinement at Abuja, where he has committed no crime. But this same guy is going about parading himself, bragging of killing Austrian man, bragging of making people sick. This same guy, I am wondering if this same person have all this power that he is actually bragging about. In the name of this man, the in-law of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, the man that does not, I don't know if something is wrong with him. I don't know if he is all there. I don't know if his brain fog is functional, because the type of statements and sentiment he makes in a public domain, you will question if he is mentally stable. You will question if that guy is mentally stable. There is one of these videos that I have here. Let me play it. Listen to this guy.
on me. Another this and that, hey, Kucha. You see, on Ajiji Chile to Canon, ya Joya. Canon.
I want you to listen.
Ostraman, one Ostraman of the number. Time to time, money in the book. Or one day, ya born. Now, some name in the Apocratin gum. IP will be the church card media warrior. Then you have go ahead on that to attack me. Marcia, yes, but Niaga, I try to talk to others. Kaha didn't attack. This is his words because the first person in Bidrona job, he destroyed the coup or destroyed the coup. There is evidence. Again, on my page, the beginning of the coup, I'm the first person Bidrona a job underground. Now, Monostraman and Kuchoku. Yeah, either that day or the next day, same. Nam stop work Canada. Master, why they just stop Canada? Ya Coram Yenine Canada, Igbo and this and that. Master, I Canada, defend the one name that I will support Canada. Honestly speaking, I lie not. Yeah, when that day, when I Canada, me with the phone, Tine Canada Nanti. The Canada, I am Ostraman. You see, when I judge Chilejo Canada, Majoya Canada, Canada, Yagamoto. Me with the phone, Tine Nanti. Yes, hello, Canada, and this and that, in Pucha. You see, when I judge Chilejo Canada, Yajoya Canada, Saya Jujuni or Julia. About Yendeme underground. Go watch her. See ya, God George Kedozim. My old is in the Yakoro. Moisuk Mowash. Ma Ostraman, Shostraman, don't attack Canada anymore. And don't attack me. I'm gonna get a number. Yes, Master Prophet, Niana can defend them. Niana post to my page. Ostraman over over 100 pages. And the page in which I want picture. Ostraman. Ya bomb the next day, same that Nande Apocratingum and will go ahead of that to attack me. And they will continue to attack Canon. You see, you got join. Yes, I should stop protecting Canada. You see, gay join ya. I will not be happy with you. Yamu Ostraman may unleash attack on me. And I know all his Facebook page. They have only one picture. Ostraman has one. If maybe you want 2 or 3 pages, Ostraman has a different picture maybe. But 98% of Ostraman's page was one picture. And I know them because he has sent me them in the past. My Ostraman is here. Chineke ga-akpọgị generation. You know what these people are doing on the ground against Mazen Nadeka. Even Yasi Canada. Why don't you ask Mazen Nandekano to send a message to Ojofo or Ojimako to make a press statement against Chikedozium? Canada say, I'm not supposed to share all these things, but I have to. Canada say, if Mazen Nandekano made a statement message, will you people Apocratingum still believe it? All the message that Ejimako, Palestine Ejimako, they were there. Okay, now, Ostraman and unleash attack on me, which, and one of the day I was upset. Boy, Ostraman, him saying a day about me, Rishoku. Yes, he has no choice. I want you to understand Apokratingum, IPOB Apokratingum. They don't have brain. I know now. I can happen when I had chuma. But I can't matter. I catch. That very day, Ostraman seemed that they have made a meeting. And that's why I had them attack. The next day, I tried to them attack. It confirmed that Ostraman was telling me the truth. The next day, Chaluka mem attack. The next day, Metusale mem attack. The next day, Kenga mem attack. The next 1 week, come. Map, over back to IPOB, mem attack. Ostraman, Emolish, comment every time. Comment this, that. One day we went beyond. One thing you have to understand. And I'm put in fight to somebody, now they put in fight. Ilani and IPOB, all these people who now sabotage Mazen and the Kano. I don't call their names. I can say something about them, but I don't call their names. I want to show you the message that day with me. Here, 2 days after man Ostramano, which could be unleash all those his account towards me, which he told me is going to do Mabwani that Chineke ga-akụbe ha ma n'echi. Nwụrụ onye amụma Chineke ga-akụbe ha ma n'echi. Let me play one of this video. Upload. Just watch the video. I think about 22 minutes. I said a lot of things, but although I'm outside, so the wind was too much. It's during summertime last year. About not this time. Enjoy making. Because I don't know the last message in said that to Ostraman from my blog where now what's up. Now, my Jose, and now hunger Ostraman on you go. Now with a cancer, now with a jet. Now, Omonia Mama won't you. Only can a prince a choma you. Macon winning in the minute, but with the Java enough legitimacy. Echo into the nation. On our way, Punishi. And Chukwasi, time has come. I spent over 40 minutes speaking with Ostraman. Stop attacking Canada. And we talked. But in case we tell one, no sin, if not Brahma, on your honey, on your shinda bakrating go. That idiot, I just not happy. I don't even want to call his name. When I hear I want to be on phone and you go other matters. But I job him, I told me drag in. But Chineke got quick. More for this idiot to be South Africa. I got super trousers here. Also, South Africa. I got super trousers and also. ana m achọ mmadụ okwu but ewepụrụ na mmasị Chineke lekwe ya dị ha mma ya adịghị mma ọ dị m mma eji lee anya na they have been fighting against each other now otu ha nọ n'olu m na ha ga now unite ya to come against me but I don't have time for them enweghị no time for them the world okwu m kwuru ekwu onye m universe anọ n'olu m emuvu onye m ọ dị ka gị gaa n'ime ọhịa nyụọ nshi ncha nshi ga-apụ kata gị gaa mụrụ aka ị ga-eje nga ahụ ka ị na-anụ ukiri nshi onye ara pụtara n'ụzọ mgbaba nnọ nyụọ ahụ pụta chụma kenne nna ya anya ugbu a na ọzi ya target bụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu otu ihe m ga-ekwu n'ụbọchị taa bụ ọ baghị uru ka ụmụnne anyị nwụchie Chukwu onye chara onye ọbụla n'ime ha I spent over 40 minutes speaking with Ostraman. Stop attacking Kanu. And we talked. But the game with them won. No sin, if you know Brahma, on your religion of the slave masters, and your that one prophet. Not knowing none in the wrong place. But when I was awakened, to the traditions of my forefathers.
You know what? I don't have time to listen to all this. You have actually listened to those who know the language you speak. You have actually know where he is going. He said it is what he did that killed Ostraman. He said again that the one in South Africa is going to remove their pants and run mad. That he has already made peace, done that one as well. So what is important here is that this guy is claiming that he loves his brother, and then that people are conspiring against his brother. And he has the power to make people run mad, to give people cancer, the cancer that killed one of our comrades, that he has the power to do so. Him and his whatever he prayed to. But he does not have power to actually remove his in-law from the DSS solitary confinement, which he claimed that he loves so much. That is exactly where I have a problem. If you want to listen to such video, you can actually request for it. I will send it to you on WhatsApp. You will listen to it, because I have a limited time to actually play it or to look for that part where he spoke about that. But at your own demand, you can request for such video. I will post it on your WhatsApp. But the most important thing is that how could this man be proud to come out to say that he make people sick, he has this power to do so, but he claimed he loves his brother-in-law who is languishing, and he claimed he is doing it for the sake of his brother-in-law, but he cannot do something that will make his brother-in-law to come out of the solitary confinement where he is. It is a part of it that you need to understand, that this thing of religion and their leaders and whatever they do, it is all about lying to people. You know, he is taking glory of killing his own brother, his comrade. Regardless of what you have with this person, you took glory that you killed him, you gave him cancer, you killed him. Dude. Of course, our people are superstitious. The family of such our comrade, late comrade Austrian man, I believe they are watching. You have heard. If you request for this video, I will give it to you. Who said that he killed your child? You will hear it from him directly. who said he has a power to kill and to give sickness and make people mad. This is such man that spoke. His name is, he called himself, is it Master Prophet? That's what he called himself. The in-law to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. That's what he called himself. Of course, you people in Nigeria, you people believe in superstition. So you need to actually bring him to question him as per the reason why he killed your sons through cancer. These are when you see a place where law is not working. A place where it's run like animal kingdom. These are the type of people they produce. The type of people they produce. These are the type of people. The people who will, take it upon themselves. They have killed someone. They are bragging about it in the social media. These are them. And nothing is going to be done about it. But I believe that this will be the last time this illiterate will come to the media space to claim that he killed somebody or whatever he's working with, killed anybody. This will be the last time. I can assure you. So let us actually move on to what we have, because of course I have actually wasted my time to entertain the vague, I don't want to call him such because it is actually a good name. But the most importantly is that he acknowledged and he actually accepted that he killed somebody. So the law must take its course, and the family of the deceased should actually question him in that regard. So, like I was saying before I played that video, because I don't want it to be the last one, there is a video which I came across, and that video is on Channels TV, where there was an interview conducted by
the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter.
Channel TV. Before we go to such interview, I want you to listen. I want you to know what you are going to get in this interview with he said that his name is Femi Falana, or his name is Falana. That's what I see here. I don't know if he is Femi Falana. I want you to hear what's going on here from the media person. I want you to see how he talked about Tinubu being in power from the 29th of May, even though he talked about the court proceedings going on. The reason why I acknowledge such path is for you to understand he knows that the things that you guys are going to court is just a formality. And that court process is a formality, but the only problem you have is that you don't have serenity to know the difference. You don't have discernment. You don't understand what is going on in Nigeria. It will never work in your favor. You don't understand. It will now lead us. After this, you will see the impact of factionalism. Now, listen to what this guy said here. And the most important part that I actually picked up is de-dollarization, because you talk about de-dollarization and making your crude oil coming out from Biafra land to be sold in Naira. That is exactly what he talked about. But, talking about it is one thing, but the people in the position of power acknowledging it is another thing. But let us listen to it.
The president
presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, the governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, were present at the pre-hearing of the presidential election petitions tribunal today in Abuja. And at that hearing, it was established that the Action Alliance withdrawn their petition against the President-elect Bola Tinubu of the APC. And also, it was also gathered that some of the hearings will continue tomorrow. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, Bola Tinubu of the APC polled 8,794,000 votes to win the election, while Atiku Abubakar of the PDP came second with 6,984 votes, and Peter Obi with 6,101,533 votes. But the election of Bola Tinubu is being challenged by some of those who contested in that election, and the proceedings began, a long-awaited proceeding began today. Of course, Atiku Abubakar and the PDP are requesting that the proceedings should be televised. Tonight, I have joining me live on the program is Mr. Femi Falana, a senior advocate of Nigeria. One room will be talking about the state of the Nigerian, the state of the nation, especially the manner in which the economy has been dollarized. Is someone who says is unhappy with the way and manner things are, is asking Nigeria to join the BRICS Commission. What does this mean? And for our nation? But let me ask the learned Silk tonight about the beginning of the proceeding, which a lot of Nigerians have been expecting. In fact, there are those who are saying that we should dispense of this matter before the president-elect is sworn in. Learned Silk, please give us your position on that.
Before the president-elect is sworn in, we should talk about this matter. Forgetting that the president-elect, the matter is still in court. It is actually uncertain if the court is working in Nigeria, the judiciary, if it is working in Nigeria, it is still uncertain whether the president or whether or not the president-elect is going to be sworn in. But they have already determined that the president-elect is going to be sworn in, so they are now detailing their request. That's exactly what I discovered here, because the way they actually, narrated, or the way they put up what they said here, it is actually nullifying the process of the judiciary. That's exactly what I understand. And being in a media, or a media person supposed to be promoting every law and the system of government in a country, protecting the law, protecting the human rights, being the advocate of human rights. Because the people who went out there to vote say that they did not vote for the president-elect. Yet, they are making a statement saying that they are bringing out all these things for the president-elect. As long as the matter is in court, there is no president-elect. If court or judiciary in Nigeria is actually respected, or given its power, or given its mandate to discharge its power as an independent body amongst the three arms of government that rule Nigeria, I don't think there is anybody called president-elect today, because the matter is still in the court. The matter is still in the court. And the people are also calling for the inauguration to be postponed. But it is not being adhered to, because power doesn't belong to the people in Nigeria. Power belongs to the few people in politics. It is not democracy in Nigeria. It is not democracy in Nigeria. So let us continue. That is actually digression and one of the things I picked up. But let's continue because we are going somewhere.
Lenesik, please give us your position on that. Mr. Falana, I don't know if you can hear me. Seems to be some loss in the connection with him, but let's go on a short break, everyone. And when we return, apologies for that break in the communication with the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana. When we're back, hopefully we'll be able to correct the signal loss with him in hearing us clearly. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back.
A, B, C, D.
A, B, C, D.
In the morning, brush.
Thank you so much, everyone. Apologies for that glitch. Mr. Femi Falana is still with me on the program. Thank you so much, Mr. Falana, for staying with us. I was going to ask you, because the Presidential Election Tribunal resumed today, just before we get into a major conversation, I'd like to know your view, because there are those who are agitated. They went outside of the courtroom today. They were asking that that case should be fully dispensed with before the swearing in of Bola Tinubu. What do you make of that position?
So I think some of our colleagues, with profound respect, are causing confusion. The law is there. Section 285 of the Constitution prescribes 180 days for dealing with election petitions at the Court of Appeal. If there is an appeal, you have additional 60 days. So altogether, you are talking of 8 months. In the case of governors, governorship elections, governorship election petition, you are talking of 10 months, 180 days in the tribunal, 60 days in the Court of Appeal, and 60 days in the Supreme Court. If people are saying that we should go back to the drawing table, deploy and use technology properly, then we can amend the Constitution to allow election petitions to be disposed of within 2 or 3 weeks. But whereas in this case, the petitioner did not file their petition until 21 days after the election. So you can't be talking of 7 days or 14 days. But again, as I said, after this exercise, we can go back to the drawing table and amend the Constitution and the Electoral Act to allow for a situation whereby you don't even go to the Court of Appeal. If you are talking of presidential election petition, as it is the case in Ghana or Kenya, you simply go to the Supreme Court. Up to 2011, governorship election petitions were never handled by the Supreme Court. So I think this experience should really inform some concrete amendment of the Constitution. But that can only be anchored on a proper deployment of technology. And what I mean is that if you have the Beavers machine deployed, and you have the Beavers report, and results of elections are transmitted to the central server of the INEC. So we should be talking of 2 reports. Those are the reports that should be taken to the tribunal. But in this case, witnesses, the petitioners are calling witnesses. The respondents are calling witnesses. Including the electoral body. After which, of course, the witnesses are going to be cross-examined. It is after the hearing of each of the petitions that the parties will be invited to write written submissions, submit them to the courts, and then have a day to adopt them before the judges will retire to consider the addresses and the evidence led in court. Under the current electoral regime, law regime, you cannot abridge the time. In this case, you are talking of about 5 petitions, 5 election petitions. And every petitioner wants to have a field day in court. So we need to really
Mr. Falana, let me quickly ask you. There was a request by Atiku and the PDP asking the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to televise the proceedings. I mean, the Constitution provides that the proceedings in the court should be a public affair. But, well, what do you make of that kind of request based on the interest of the public and the sensitivity of the matter at hand?
So, I had expressed my opinion on this matter a couple of months ago. Now, an application has just been made to the court. I cannot preempt the court. I cannot.
Okay. So,
I cannot.
But Mr. Falana, quickly, because I need to take you quickly on the statement you made today about the BRICS Commission and the dollarization of the Nigerian economy. You have your fear. You think that the IMF and these global institutions are trying to sabotage and have a dominance on our economy. But quickly, based on public interest, what are your expectations of the judiciary in these proceedings that began today?
Now, come again. My expectation
of the judiciary, based on the fact that a lot of Nigerians are looking at the details, perhaps for the first time more critically than we've ever seen, on the proceeding in the Presidential Election Tribunal. What are your expectations? What do you think that the judiciary should be looking into in dispensing justice in this matter?
I think the presiding justice, the Honorable Justice Amani, they made a point to me that the court will not give room for undue technicalities or crass legalism. I think that is commendable. I'm very convinced that justice will be done. The parties will have to adduce evidence to support their claims. And once that is done, of course, the respondents will also challenge the evidence of the petitioners. And once that is done, I'm very convinced that justice will be done.
Let me take you to the economy matter, because when I saw that statement,
that's where I am interested in.
Two of alleged economic sabotage between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the likes of the IMF. Is this a deliberate economic sabotage of some persons to have a dollar domination on Nigerian economy? And what are the consequences? Is there any major danger to the Nigerian people?
Just before I attend to your question, I wish to react to the claim of Senator Ifeanyi that he should be credited, he should be commended for the amendment of Deep Offshore Production Contracts Act. With profound respect, I started that campaign in 2015. The records are there. By 2019, I submitted, with the assistance of Dr. Clinton Jaja, I drafted a bill for the amendment of that act. And the bill was adopted by the Senate under the presidency of Dr. Bukola Saraki, but the Senate could not complete the exercise. Hence, the current Senate had to, pick up the battle where it was left. So I drafted the bill. It was the bill that was adjusted by the current Senate. So I don't think it would be fair. I mean, just to put the record straight. Now, coming back to the dollarization of the economy, I have been fighting the current leadership of the central bank for turning the Nigerian economy into a kalo-kalo affair. The central bank is superintended, is supervised by the IMF and World Bank. And their position, the position of the Bretton Woods institutions, is that the Naira is overvalued and that the Naira should be completely destroyed. The central bank supports such neoliberal, very dangerous neoliberal policy. And that is why Section 20 of the Central Bank Act, which provides that the legal tenders in Nigeria shall be currency notes issued by the central bank as well as coins. But today, the dollar is spent in Nigeria. Landlords collect rents in dollars in certain parts of the country. School fees are paid in dollars, and I have fought.
You know what? The reason why I don't want this to make you forget, because this is exactly what I am targeting. The whole world is actually trying to de-dollarize. Nigeria is using dollars to pay rent, pay school fees. Now the Central Bank of Nigeria is moving forward, or is making a move to dollarize the economy. Why wouldn't they make a move to dollarize the economy? How much are they owing IMF? Nigeria owe IMF a lot of money. They even went to the failed states or poorest countries in the IMF sector to borrow, take loan under the leadership of this man in Aso Rock. So why would IMF not dictate for them on what to do? Because of course they take a loan without even checking the interest or the interest rate of what they are taking. They just continue to take, share it amongst themselves. Now it has returned to bite them. Now, have you seen in the African Union, the reason why we say Nigeria is a setback to anything that is going to promote African development or African transition? Nigeria is a setback. If you look at it today, South Africa is like a problem of the United States today. Why? Do you know why? To the extent that there is a claim that South Africa supplied weapons to Russia. I didn't know that South Africa. I know that South Africa, they have they are one of the people in Africa that their democracy is standard. They are one of the countries in Africa that they have some military technology. I know that they have, they are good, but I didn't know that they are good enough to supply weapons to Russia, according to the claim of the U.S. ambassador to South Africa. Because if you I didn't open that article because I was reading this article yesterday. I was stunned. When the person said that they can swear with their life that South Africa supplied weapon to Russia. So in all these things, it came to a point that I began to imagine if South Africa is supplying Russia a weapon, that means we are overrating Russia. Maybe we will rate South Africa what they truly deserve. Maybe we are not rating them where they're supposed to be. They are the heartbeat of Africa. If they can supply weapons to Russia, because in this regard, Russia with the nuclear power that have more than Russia, they have more than 4,000 nuclear warheads in their arsenal. South Africa, the only one nuclear weapon they had was destroyed because they didn't want it to be in the hands of black people. How can a black nation own a nuclear weapon? They advised them it is not good. That's what led to them burying it 2.6 kilometers, according to the history. If my memory serves me right on the history that I have read about their nuclear weapon. So, and I believe that in this regard, the reason why ambassador to United States will make such claim, I believe there is something very more to it. There is something more to it. I believe that it is because South Africa is trying to de-dollarize as well, or because they are member of BRICS. And BRICS is going to stand like NATO, because BRICS is also like is something that is going to be like NATO, because NATO is there now, BRIC is there, and there is going to be a paradigm shift by de-dollarizing. If BRICS will now introduce a currency that is going to be used to trade, and this currency is going to overshadow the dollar, because the dollar has been misused by the Americans in the way of sanctioning people such as Zimbabwe, sanctioning other nations, Iran, many countries that have sanctioned, even this country next to them, Cuba. I believe they are under sanction. And it's all about dollar sanction. They sanction you with dollar. When you do what they don't like. So I believe that South Africa fighting to actually, or being part of the BRICS. It is not just being part of the BRICS. They are part of the executive members of BRICS. And the USA is fighting them, because USA, I believe they have this, they believe they had this autonomy on many countries in Africa, especially the South Africa. I believe they believe they have this autonomy in South Africa, that they can control them, tell them what to do. They are shocked that South Africa is going towards this direction of also to support a currency that will overthrow dollars. I don't think it is doing well with them, because they are scared of what maybe South Africa is going to profit or benefit from aligning herself with another type of powerful nations, which they have aligned themselves in many years with the US and Europe. They couldn't benefit such. So I believe they are scared of what eye-opening it is going to be. Because it is not all about, I don't think it is all about this war in Ukraine. I don't think so. I believe there is something more to it. Because if you de-dollarize, you are going to have more benefits. You are going to stand. You will not, so nobody will threaten you with sanction or currency if you de-dollarize. Now, South Africa is a member of BRICS, which Falana is actually now proposing for Nigeria to join BRICS. But forgetting that Nigeria is over-indebted to Europeans. Nigeria is over-indebted to IMF, which IMF is dollar, IMF is actually empowering dollars. They give their loans with dollars. Now, you are calling on Nigeria to de-dollarize when they have taken millions of dollars, billions of dollars from the dollar nation, from IMF. I know that the reason why this guy is saying it is the right thing to do if a nation who understands her foreign policy, who understands how to make use of her foreign policy, who understand how to move towards transitioning or towards a change. Because where they have been, it is their comfort zone that they have never dreamed of or dream of moving away from. Because it profits and benefits this pack or this pack of criminals who call themselves leaders in a political space. It benefits them while the other people suffer. The same reason why they told you they are printing new notes. After printing new notes, where is the new note? They told you the old note, they actually took your money for days, for weeks. They took away your money. And when they returned it, no interest. That is actually infringement to human rights. Infringement to human rights. It is something that you might not understand it that way, because no one has the right to take your money you have worked for and held it and give you a condition of accessing it. They don't have the right to do so. It is your money. If they want to do so, they must return it with with profit. But because these people they do what they want, because it is the structure that was set up by Europeans. Now, Falana is talking about de-dollarization. Falana is advising Nigeria, this same Nigeria, that believe that anything Europeans and USA does is good. They are never wrong. Because they know that USA and Europeans, they are aware of the infringement of human rights they are doing against the people. They are aware of ill treatment they are giving to us Biafrans. They are aware of the system that is being run by these criminals that are killing people, destroying lives and livelihood, and they are not doing anything about it. Why then do you think that these same people are going to stand up to challenge this system that has been allowing them to violate people's rights, that has been allowing them to kill people without being held to account, that has allowed them to kill more than 3.5 million women and children in 1967 without nobody issuing an arrest warrant on the president during that time, who actually led that genocide. In the likes of Gowon and the other commanders, military commanders, in the likes of Buhari, the so-called Buhari in Aso Rock, the likes of Obasanjo, the likes of many of them who has been the leader of Nigeria, who led that genocide. They protected them. Why do you think that such people are going to stand up to kick back, or to stand up to say, we are joining BRICS, we are going to de-dollarize? South Africa, who has, they have not committed any crime or infringement of the right of their people, or committed any, their democracy is actually standard. According to the information, because I follow their news, now are being targeted by the USA. Talk more of Nigeria, where USA have every atrocities that they have committed against human rights, against all these politicians who are pushing money, embezzling money, saving it in their offshores, all the things that they are doing, Fulanis, do you think they will stand up to challenge such people? This is the reason why where I am heading at is to tell you that in African development talk, Nigeria is a setback to African development. And Nigeria is a setback to the people who live in it. More than 200 million people. Nigeria has been set back in their lives. Especially the Biafrans. Because they know what we can do. They know what we are capable of. They know how industrious, entrepreneurial, they know how we can, what we can achieve being free. They suppressed it. Nigeria. Why do you think they will pray for the development of Africa? You see the reason why we are calling on African leaders, African nations, to support this quest for self-determination of Biafra. Because we know where we found ourselves. We know the type of forces that is holding them down. We know what they have committed. We know the evidences, the prima facie that is actually prepared for them in case if they try to thwart the power that set the bars that they roll with, the power that protects them against the crime, that protects them from all the crimes they have committed against Biafrans. Do you think they will stand up one day to challenge such power? This thing he is saying, I know he is dreaming big. He is dreaming big. I don't blame him. And he knows that it is a solution to part of this economic crisis. It is part of a solution which can never be achieved because the people who can enact that law does not have the political will to do so. People who can actually make it happen, they are not willing to do so because they are like dogs who will never have enough of the selfishness that they are actually, they have found themselves exercising. These people are too selfish that the whole world revolves around them. It is not about the people. It is not about you as a common person. It is always about them. It is always about their children. That is it. And you want them to de-dollarize. I know that even if they have taken so much loan from IMF, let me actually put it this way and make it straight. It does not stop them from de-dollarization. But did they take such loan in good standing? The answer is no. They didn't take such loan in good standing. If it is somehow that IMF, if you just bring this loan issuing or to Nigeria to a national level, not to the global level. If Nigeria is not a country, if Nigeria is an individual assessing such loan that they are assessing from the IMF, it will come to a point where that individual might go and review this loan that is issued to him, and they might come to a resolution that this is high risk or this is reckless lending. Might come to terms that they will call it a reckless lending. IMF is reckless lending Nigeria with high interest rates, because they know that the people who control Nigeria, they don't have the willingness to make the economy of Nigeria to stand. They only want to loot. They only want to steal. That is the reason why they don't mind. I believe they are still owing the loan, Nigeria debt. Let me see where it was, because the last time I checked, it was more than $100 billion. I'll give you the figures. I will not be able to pronounce it in Naira. That is the problem. I will not be able to pronounce such amount in Naira. Let me try to see if I can in dollar. Let's see if I can in dollar. It's 200. Okay, in Naira it is basically 2,245 or 2,454,500,000 454. Okay, 2,454,000. Okay, Nigeria owe IMF 2 trillion. 2 trillion, 2 point something trillion. That's how much Nigeria owe IMF. Let's convert it in dollars. Let's convert it in dollars. Okay, if you convert it to dollar, it becomes, okay, for IMF alone is 5 million. No, this cannot be correct. This cannot be correct. I think I made a mistake. I made a mistake there, because Nigeria owing, the debt that Nigeria owe is almost $100 billion. $100 billion. Oh, okay. Only IMF, they owe 13 point something billion dollars. Only IMF, because I know they have a loan to China as well. They owe China. They owe China. They owe IMF 13 point something billion dollars. That's the amount they owe IMF alone. So if you round up all the loans that they have in Nigeria, it is around 100. It is around 100 billion dollars. The loan, the debt that they have, it's around that. The only IMF is 13 point something billion dollars. So I think we must continue. So, like I was saying, if it is on a personal or level or individual, they will challenge those who are issuing them this loan that this is a reckless lending. The institution is reckless lending Nigeria because, of course, the institution called IMF or whoever, whether it's Chinese, they know that the Nigeria is run by a super corrupt individuals. So who is going to be, liable for this payment or repayment of all these loans? Who is going to be liable for the repayment? It will now pass from generation to generation, generation to generation. It becomes a generational curse to the people of Nigeria. Because we have seen all these things. Nigeria is called the biggest economy in Africa. That's what they name Nigeria, the biggest economy in Africa. But 1 naira is equal to how many? Okay, $1. $1 is equal to how much in naira? More than 400 naira. Right? $1 is more than 400 naira. But Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. And the biggest economy in Africa does not have a refinery. The reason why inflation is overwhelming Nigeria is because Nigeria even import petrol. They import petrol when they are actually making use of the petrol, the crude oil that is in Biafra land. They took it up for themselves, exploring all these resources in Biafra land. Now, when they explore a crude oil, they export it for refinery, for the crude oil to be refined. Now they export it, they buy it back, which is actually making the inflation rate to go super high in Nigeria. A country who is seen as the biggest economy in Africa cannot have a refinery. It is only recently they have invested billions of naira into Dangote's refinery. In Dangote's refinery, they invested billions of naira in Dangote's refinery. Of course, we all know that Dangote is the richest man in Africa today because it is our money that made him the richest man. Every government that comes to the office that is controlled by Fulani more enrich Dangote the more. That's what happens. They enrich him the more. So it is practically our money that Dangote is using to be the richest man in Africa. And that is, by the way, it is very important for the world to know. Obasanjo favored Dangote. The evidence and the history is there. It came to the point that they have to even stop business of a Biafran who is doing the same thing as Dangote and favored Dangote. So in this thing that is called favoritism. He is African billionaire because of the favor he received from Nigeria government. He received such favor when Nigeria government plunged every other person from accessing such favor. They gave it to him. I call it nepotism or favoritism. It is called favoritism. It is also called nepotism because the people who are controlling the people in position of power are Dangote's people. So it is nepotism. It is Dangote's people. The Fulani. So if you look around you, you will find out that Nigeria is a nation that will never have economic growth or transition to something that will help them to thrive as a nation. Because it is a British company. Nigeria is a British company. Of course, the information we've been preaching over the years is coming out right now, where they tell you that Nigeria was bought for so amount by the Britain. Nigeria was bought by Britain. Even when they claim Royal Niger Company is a company that is trading oil. But these are the same companies that made their money through slavery. The same company they said so-called Royal Niger Company. Why is it called Royal Niger Company? That is the true name, Royal Niger Company. That is the same company they used to name after Nigeria. They used to buy Nigeria and name Nigeria Nigeria. Royal Niger Company. Nigeria. Royal Nigeria. That is exactly where you are living. You call yourself, I am a proud Nigeria. One Nigeria. I am Nigano de carry last. Nigano de carry last. You can't even pronounce your name properly. You can't even pronounce the country name properly. No matter how much you baptize it, it is Nigeria. Nigeria. Niger area. That's what it is. No matter how much you want to make, that G, that G, you put, whether they have, you want to change G to J, it is Nigeria. At the end of the day, you believe that these same people who does not have opportunity to change their name as a country and give their name whatever they want as black people in a black nation, they will wake up one day and tell you, oh, we are de-dollarizing. Oh, we are no longer exporting crude oil. We are no longer going to allow our crude oil to be explored by the United States companies. We are no longer going to allow our crude oil to be explored by Italian company. We are no longer going to allow our crude oil to be explored by British companies. Do you think they will wake up one day to say such? Because if you want to de-dollarize, these same people that are actually exploring your crude oil, your resources, they are the ones who is going to start paying you. The main explorer of crude oil in Nigeria, it is Britain and the United States and Italy. Britain, United States, and Italy. Those are the main people that explore your crude oil. So you wake up one day, you tell them, before you will be paying us in Naira now. You think this administration that these same people help to rig into the office is going to wake up one day and challenge the same people that led them into office, that actually turn a blind eye to every atrocities that they have committed? You think they will wake up to do so? Nigeria is a setback to the life of black people. And the worst case scenario is calling them the giant of Africa. Giant of Africa means the leader of Africa. It is the leader of Africa. What have Nigeria achieved? If you look around you, ask yourself, what has Nigeria achieved in the last 63 years of independence from Britain? Is there anything for you to say that we have achieved this, we have achieved that? Is there anything? The answer is no. Because the colonial master will never allow them to achieve anything. The reason why is not like they are coming to police them not to achieve, but they have established a system that allow people to run it anyhow. Because the more you put corrupt people in such system, the more your oil is being stolen. Millions of barrels is being exported without being accounted for. That is exactly the type of exploitation that you are going through. And that is the same reason why they helped to kill Biafrans when Biafra decided to stand up and say, we want our independence, not a situation, we don't want to be part of this place that is run by a feudal system. We don't want to be part of this country that Britain decided to bring many nations together to build the biggest nation in Africa in order to exploit them economically. America, they have oil. Do you know how much America have actually, benefited from oil sale in 2022? More than 200 billion dollars. More than $200 billion they have benefited since the start of this war in Ukraine, that they have started selling their oil. They have benefited a lot from their oil sale. How much has Nigeria, or will I say, did you ever hear that Nigeria benefited such amount of money from oil sale within a year? You will never hear it. You know why? Because your oil is being stolen. If you decide to carry out what Femi Falana, I don't know whether it's Femi or whatever, said about de-dollarization, you will start hearing, or you will start seeing what is happening in South Africa. And they say that this arms was sold to Russia. I believe they said in 2022. And it was not made public until now that South Africa is refusing that they will arrest Putin. Now they refuse to arrest Putin. Now they came up with this, that South Africa sold weapon to Putin. That the ship that docked somewhere was loaded with military supply to Russia. Congratulations, South Africa. you people are actually, you know, a great nation in Africa that we didn't know your military capability. Congratulations. I didn't know that you guys have this. You know, I wish that it is true you sold weapon. At least we will have a nation that is in Africa that we will brag about, that sold weapon to the world superpower, the nation that has more than the biggest nuclear weapon in the world. That we have a nation in Africa that sold weapons to them, or to supply them, or gave them for free. It means that you guys are great. So in this regard, if Nigeria have to make any move today, imagine the type of backlash they are going to get from their masters, Europeans and the United States. It is going to be very bad, because they are controlled. They are controlled by these same people. That is the reason why anybody with their right sense or right mind will say they don't want to be part of Nigeria anymore. You will never agree to be part of a failed state, because it is only those who love to recycle failure that want to be one Nigeria. And those are the people I am going to show you their videos right now. Those who love recycling failure. Especially these people I am going to show you, because their video. Just one moment. This is actually I want you to watch this video that is in front of your screen. You will see how disgraceful. Watch it and see how disgraceful this set of people are, who call themselves Biafran politicians. This is the reason why we will always tell you that these people are the problem that we have as Biafrans. So, it is going to go down to the record that when the rain that they are actually calling off rain in Nigeria, these are the people that's supposed to be the first target. They are the problem we have. They are selling us for pittance. They are selling us for nothing. They will never actually try to do anything that will be beneficial to you. These people, they behave like idiots, I can assure you, because you cannot tell me the reason why you are forcing a relationship where you are not wanted. You keep on selling your pride, forcing it. Why are you forcing it, for goodness sake? These people need you more than you need them. Why then are you forcing them for you to be part of them? Is that not idiocy? This set of people, I can categorically tell you, they have sown them their souls. They don't have conscience anymore because of what they are profiting. Because these people know that when we have Biafra, we will enact a law that will prosecute any one of them who is placed in a position of power that want to exploit the nation. The punishment of exploiting the national cake or exploiting the nation will be bigger than a punishment of ordinary criminal. Because if there is equity justice, fairness, service delivery, job opportunities, you will not have a lot of criminals in a country. That's why the punishment to those who are state looters will be bigger than those who are just ordinary criminals. Because as an this set of people, one day if we get Biafra, one day you bring them into the political space, they will destroy the nation. These are vultures. Let's listen to them before we actually judge them. Let's listen to them. Listen attentively.
Gentlemen of the press, communicated by the Senate Southeast Caucus held on Sunday, May 7, 2023. 1. We have observed with dismay the antics of persons with vested selfish interest who have planted themselves around the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and have vowed to shut out the Southeast from the Senate presidency of the 10th Senate. 2. Beyond ethnic and religious considerations, in the forthcoming 10th Senate, the Southeast has been blessed with ranking senators-elect, including members of the All Progressive Congress, APC, who have the cranial capacity, competence, influence, experience, and political fellowship to pilot the affairs of the Red Chamber. It becomes imperative that All Progressive Congress uphold the principles of natural justice and equity, which it preaches, founded on reasons, and zone the seat of the President of the Senate to the Southeast region. That the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should extend the same democratic opportunity he received from the outgoing administration, which gave all aspirants equal opportunity to exercise their fundamental and constitutional rights during the APC presidential primaries. He should be conscious of the great implication of zoning and endorsing a candidate from the South-South without any regard to the Southeast. Such move will no doubt serve as a recipe for injustice which will culminate to restiveness. We employ the President-elect to be sensitive to the times in Nigeria and ensure the country continues to thrive on the part of equity, unity and fairness to the tripod of Nigeria, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and the geopolitical zones. The country is already divided among ethnic and religious lines due to the exclusion of the Southeast region, which forms the major reasons the APC received the amount of votes from the Southeast. The incoming administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu must correct the anomaly by ensuring that the Southeast is given the opportunity.
And you can now give them copies of these corrected ones. Tell them to read.
Gentlemen of the press, communicated by the Senate Southeast Caucus held on Sunday, May 7, 2023. 1. We have observed with dismay the
Okay, this guy is still observing. He is still observing. Okay, this guy with this man. These people, they are actually a disgrace to what Biafra stands for. The reason why I call them a disgrace to what Biafra stands for, it is because we don't need to beg people to love us. Why are you begging these people to give you a position of Senate when you saw that your candidate that's contested for presidency, they actually rig him out so that they will continue to hold their power and put their stooge there? And they are wasting time in court today. Of course, you will hear whether they are wasting time or not. Secondly, I thought this guy who called himself, who was the ex-convict, what was his name? Is it from Abia State? Ojus Okalo. I thought Ojus Okalo said that the Senate president is his. That he owns the Senate president. He was so sure about it. But now, you people are now begging to get a position in the red chamber. Oh, who did this to you? You are begging to get a position in the red chamber. Have you now seen the reason why I say that this court proceedings, it is what is called formality? Because if they value this court proceeding, they will never come out to say, to start begging Senate president-elect to give them opportunity to contest for Senate president, to have a position in the red chamber. Because they all know that the court proceeding is a formality. When they finish waste your time, you will wake up from your slumber. By the time you wake up, it's already late because somebody is already a president, a tyrant, who shot you in Lekki toll gate. Imagine what he can do. So all these things, when you look at them, what do you say to yourself? That our politicians, they will never speak for us. They will never support us. And we don't care about them. Because majority takes up the vote. If there is a referendum today, it is one man, one vote. They are inconsequential if it comes to that. They are very, very inconsequential. The reason why I am telling you that is for you to know. It is one man, one vote if there be a referendum. Because so many of you who have very, very small spirit, who have a very, very small spirit, will be actually maybe telling yourselves that no, we need these politicians. They have to go and speak on our behalf. They don't need to speak on our behalf. These are vultures. We don't need them. They are the people who are killing us. They are the people who are destroying us. They are the people who place us in abject poverty. Is it the type of politician in Ekwelemade that will go and speak for you? Who want to make you poor in order to take your children to go and exploit them and by harvesting their organ? These are the type of people. All of them are the same. All of them. There is no one is different among them. You are begging for a position in a red chamber when they have rigged your presidential candidate out of office. The evidences are there. Forget these formalities that is going on. The shenanigan of court process. It is a shame. This set of people, are they human being or are they animal? It is a shame. If we have to go through this process that, we are actually trying to avoid every means that will lead to violence. We are trying to avoid it. Does not mean that we are scared of going through the process. We've been there before. It's just that we didn't have media That's why they killed and hide bodies of our people. They committed genocide on British watch. Nobody is held to account, but not anymore this time, because now we have our own media. That is exactly what they fear the most. Our media. So, it is very important for you to know what is going on. That if we are going to move forward, we don't need these politicians. They are sellouts. And I know that so many of them will argue, or so many of you will argue, they are fighting now Jofo Ghana, the hatch, or they want to Jidofo. To hell with your Ofo and Ofo. In the last 63 years, you are fighting for each Ofo. Ofo Mbukwe there. In the last 63 years, you want to say now we want to make sure that we try these things and we will have evidence to show that we are being marginalized. We will have evidence to show that we are not part of whatever that is going on. To hell with you. Anybody who does not see it that way in the last 63 years that you've been clamoring and crying about it, that person will never see it with your hypocrisy. It is not possible with your hypocrisy. It can never happen with your hypocrisy. Now, because I am bringing this program to an end, maybe we'll be here on Sunday if possible, if time permits us. But the most important thing is that there is also something I have noticed. You know, for a very long time now we ignored Agent Provocateur so that he will knock himself out. But it looks like he is calling for more attention, but we will not give it to him. We will not give it to him, such attention that he's calling for. And it is also very important that he is, you know, of course, he has taken upon himself, he called himself Biafra Prime Minister. We have seen the atrocities that he has been committing, those people that are being killed for his, you know, those he's using in Biafra land. We have seen all that. And it doesn't bother him. All that bothers him is lying to you, taking your money. The people that he was lying with they are exposing him. We just allow them to expose themselves. Now I believe that he wants attention, but we will not give it to him. Now I want to show you how important, how dangerous it is when a faction is created, so that you will understand the reason why the Agent Provocateur was placed there. You see, anything that, you know, rise up to challenge anything that is bad, you know how to destroy it is to create a faction. Listen to APC, how they have created a faction to destroy Labour Party. Remember that it is all about using a faction to destroy something that is seen as a challenge. Now, the same thing they wanted to do to IPOB, or the same thing they did to IPOB, it is the same thing they have done to Labour Party. It is the same thing they have done to Labour Party. And that shows that maybe this Labour Party movement was a challenge, was indeed a challenge to this Nigeria and their activities. Listen to it, because they will not introduce a faction to a, to organization that is not a challenge to them. Listen.
State chairman to desist from anti-party activities or risk losing their seats, while the Lamidi Akwapa-led faction has continued to suspend certain officials. So, Sly, you have it from here.
We're now joined by representatives from both warring factions. Live here, Kenneth Okonkwo is a spokesman for the Abura-led Labour Party executive, and Abayomi Arabambi is the National Publicity Secretary for the Akwapa-led Labour Party executive. Kenneth, and good to see you all. And, Nigerians are not too excited about this whole game, to the extent that they felt that the beautiful bride in the political scene is almost getting dirtied. Now, speak to us on what exactly this is about for your party. Kenneth?
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you, viewers at home, for joining us. There is no faction in Labour Party, and I can tell you that outrightly, because you just cannot walk in from anywhere and arrogate powers to yourself and then begin to pretend that you have the power you do not have. In Labour Party, and I'm talking about the Constitution.
Remember what happened with autopilot in IPOB?
That elects or removes the national officers of the Labour Party, which is NWC. And I'm telling you, Article 13, 1BIV. And again, if there is any sudden vacancy in the national office, it is the National Executive Council that has the right to fill the vacancy.
Okay.
And I'm talking about Article 13, 2BXVI. And if there's a need to discipline any officer of the national level, it is only the National Executive Council that has the right to discipline. And I'm talking about Article 13, 2BXVII. You can check it in the Constitution of the Labour Party. So that people come to arrogate themselves and give themselves and allocate to themselves some position and call themselves, you have the right to call yourself anything. Did you see the Labour Party National Convention elect any of those people that are parading themselves as national officers of Labour? Okay. That's why you cannot call them a faction. You cannot call them the national officers of Labour Party.
Okay, now you have seen that they will always introduce a faction. They will introduce something and call it a faction in order to truncate a particular or sabotage a particular organization. The reason why they have introduced this faction to Labour Party, because they feel challenged by the activities of Labour Party. They feel very challenged from the movement, the support of the people. They never saw it coming, because whatever these people, this is a Western agenda. It is still the same Western agenda that is running with autopilot to sabotage IPOB. It is that Western agenda that is actually running with this so-called Labour Party that will automatically liberate Nigeria. Forces. Have you now seen that anything that is good, for them to destroy it, they will introduce a faction? It's even started from the time that Christ was killed. After Christ was killed, they introduced a faction of what he was teaching in order to use it to silence the real teaching, the original teachings of Christ. They even killed so many people who were his disciples. That's why you come to see today Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is emerged. They introduced it, they call it Christianity. The faction of it. Anything that that is good, for them to destroy it, they have to introduce a faction. So that if the faction is more formidable, becomes more formidable, it neutralizes the original. And people who does not know rose with the activities of the faction, forgetting the originality of such doctrine or its organization. That's exactly what they use. Western agenda. And that is what they have used in Labour Party. So that people will be saying, if they cannot govern themselves, how will they govern Nigeria? That is exactly what they will be saying. The same way they introduce autopilot to destroy IPOB, set up by Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Wow. It is very, very plain. Very, very simple to see. Except if you are myopic or blind. They can try it. They might succeed with the Labour Party, but not with IPOB, because Mazen Nnamdi Kanu set up a formidable structure that will see to the day-to-day activities in his absence. It's not a structure made by one person. It is a structure made by legion. So that is the reason why they cannot. But very, very importantly, the moral of the story is anything that is formidable, anything that can change a present situation, to destroy it is to introduce a faction. And from that faction, if they are not formidable, they will silence the originality and the real thing that these people are actually fighting for. And the faction will now mess everything up. And you might not, if you are not conscious, you roll with it. That has been what has been happening since the invasion of Africa, since these colonizers came, invaders came. It has been happening. The reason why your history today is myth, is called myth, is because they introduce a myth, a faction of your history. And with time, your history dies off because the myth is now taking over your history. That thing called myth is what they have used to replace your history. Even though now they call your history myth, while they call their myth or their faction of the story, they call it original story. It's always like that. It has always been. It takes who? The kingdom of God suffered violence, but the violent people take it by force. That's where the context is. That's where the context lies. If you are violent enough, you will overcome such fashion. You will actually rise up and actually bring them down and claim your position. And that's what IPOB is doing. That's what Biafra is doing. We will restore Biafra in our time. It is Biafra or nothing. We will restore Biafra, whether they like it or not. So, we will continue to engage with the leaders of the world, especially the leaders in Africa, because charity begins from home. We must continue to engage with them. I know that so many of them, they might be scared of Nigeria, or maybe, I don't know if they will, but there is nothing to be scared of Nigeria about. Nigeria is run by gangs of thieves. Individually. Highest thing, they bribe you. They bribe you. Nigeria cannot, there is nothing they can do to actually hurt any nation. They don't have the capability. They can't even fight Fulani terrorists. They can't even fight Boko Haram. because they are terrorists themselves. They pretend as if they are a nation. They have no territorial integrity. So any nation in that Africa that will look at Nigeria, when we present our request, you will be thinking about what you will lose in Nigeria. Rethink, think twice. Because we want Africa that will be able to be, we want to build Africa that will reflect to be called first world country. We cannot always be on the back page, and they set the bars for us. And the reason why they will continue to set the bars for us is because of this type of people you found ruling Nigeria, and they are called the giant of Africa. If they are the leader in Africa, how do you now think that the African nations, smaller countries in Africa, are going to actually do good? Imagine Rwanda. Rwanda. How beautiful that country is. It is true that it is not brought to the picture of the world, but look at Rwanda. And you compare Rwanda to Nigeria, you will find the difference. Biggest economy with the highest oil, do they call it oil product? How do you call it? Nigeria is the biggest oil producing country in Africa. One of the biggest oil producing country in Africa. That, we are blessed with so many resources. So many resources. Californium is in Nigeria. Californium is in Nigeria. If you dig deep, you will find out that cobalt is in Nigeria. You will find out that uranium is in Nigeria. Gold is in Nigeria. Boko Haram have taken over such places. All those areas that they have occupied. There are many resources that you will find there. But is there any politician or leaders in Nigeria that is actually, that think about all these things, think on how to use these things to develop the country, to help the country to thrive? There is none of them. You will not find them. That's how evil they are and selfish. Because they will impoverish you. They will put themselves to be high as God Almighty. So that when they ask you to jump, you ask them how high. When they ask you to bring your kidney for them to exploit, you will ask them where, when, how. Is it now? When do you want it? Because they impoverish you to control you. And that is what we are fighting. We are fighting for you. But you are fighting us. Because you don't have, your consciousness is still fast asleep. Because of this environment that you have found yourself. That has been oppressing you ever since you were born. Sometimes I don't blame your ignorance, but it is very important for you to think change. No matter how ignorant you are, you must think change at some point in your life. And Nigeria can never give you this change that you are going to think about, because it is run by a feudal system. This feudal system is supported by Britain. It will never help you to thrive. Bear that in mind. Until we meet again, stay safe.